One more again.
Yes.
Throwing it back to the OG BSN Broncos podcast days.
Wow.
The homie BK.
First time, long time. Thanks for having me.
It's actually not first time.
No. Well, in this iteration, I guess.
It is.
I'll play Zach Stevens. So I'm going to start to ask a question, and then one of you be Greg Penner.
Ooh, yeah. I want to be Greg.
Wait,
I want to be
Greg
Greg.
Penner interrupt Zach?
Yeah,
Yes.
you missed that during the Sean Payton press conference, which.
I was trying to book esteemed guests like yourself.
Well, no, I get that. But Henry and I obviously watching every second of it.
Well, except for when it was cutting
that
out.
the internet allowed us to. But yeah, in the middle of, they hand the mic to Zach because Sean Payton finished his answer. So Zach starts to ask his question, and then Greg goes, well, hey, let me finish it. And Zach goes like, and I texted him. I said, don't worry, you'll get it in there. You'll get your question asked. And he did.
He did.
He repped DNVR well. Because I was not there, KOA didn't ask a question.
Oh.
They did get it. There were plenty of KOA representatives there.
Oh, yeah.
And they did sit down with Coach that you will hear on the KOA Sports.
But they didn't
this
ask
afternoon.
any questions the whole time they were sitting with him?
No. Yeah, exactly.
Just looked at each other.
Look, you guys saw it. And
Every time he finishes talking, they just go like this.
we do need to prepare ourselves for not as many questions. It's not going to be a lot of Wednesday, Thursdays where the 12 people there all get a question. It's going to be about similar to Russell Wilson, 6 or 7, because Sean Payton, while he's not necessarily overly long-winded, not 10-second answers. And I get this as an introductory presser, but Sean knows how to filibuster a bit, similar to, say, Mike Shanahan. Like, he will get whatever he wants to get to, he'll get to.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in that way. I just wonder if him being in the media himself gives him like a different appreciation for the job.
Maybe so, and he kind of touched on that at the end about learning how to sit on camera and talk on camera and what to do with his hands. I don't know if he was Ricky Bobby when he got there to Fox, but he's obviously been on camera. He's been on camera plenty. The one thing that you know about Sean, and talking to people in the building, kind of getting the second and third hand about the first interview, Sean's very confident in who he is, as he should be, when you have the track record of success that he has and the pedigree working with Bill Parcells, and then what he and Drew Brees were able to do with the Saints for all those years. There's a confidence that should come with that, and he exudes that. And we also found out about his attention to detail. And Bill Belichick is all famously, right? We always hear about his detail. Well, they both come from that same Parcells tree. So while Sean's personality is maybe not as abrasive as Bill's or caustic as rough around the edges, he's still going to make sure every stone is turned over, right? That no stone is unturned, I guess is a better way to say that. And he knows exactly what he wants to do. I remember for all of the criticisms of Tim Tebow, the quarterback, the Tim Tebow leadership stuff, what always stuck out to me, he said one time, a leader not only knows where they're going, but they know how to get there. And I think Sean, he knows a path to success. Will it all work with Russell Wilson and company? We'll find out. But if anyone out there right now that isn't named Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay has a good chance to get it going with Russell Wilson, Sean Payton is at the very top of the list, and he was obviously the only one available. And I think Broncos country, after seeing him today and going forward, will continue to rally around that idea, and then they'll play games and we'll find out how it actually works.
And so many coaches talk about attention to detail. It's just constant. I mean, even Nathaniel Hackett saying attention to detail. But for Sean Payton to come in and say one of the things that Bill Parcells taught him was that you know what looks wrong. Like, you can see what isn't working and fix it. And then to go and give examples of the details that he wants to fix and some of that sort of stuff, it just feels so much more real. Like, he knows what the details are and can teach the details.
Well, and we may have seen this with Dan Quinn if he would have been hired, Jim Harbaugh. Guys that have been in that position before know how their week goes. They know how not only each practice week goes, but they know starting in the spring exactly how they want their spring program to go through the end of OTAs and minicamp in June, and then how they want to ramp things up through training camp. And I know it's changed a little from, maybe when Harbaugh was there, and even in recent years since DQ hasn't been a head coach, and now Sean taking a year off. But there's not going to be any, hey, let's try this, or I remember this from when I worked there. I've always wanted to try it. Everything that he's wanted to try for the most part, he's tried. Doesn't mean he won't listen to new ideas, or if somebody says, hey, well, this really worked, or this works with this guy, or this set of players, whatever it may be, that he won't evolve. But we will not see, the same training camp we saw last year. I don't think the emphasis on recovery days will be there the way it was. Yeah. And I think fundamentally what Nathaniel Hackett was doing made sense until you don't win and guys keep getting hurt.
Right.
That it just doesn't add up. But I think the Rams approach training camp similarly. I think the Packers approach it similarly. The Rams or the Vikings, the Niners, but they all had more success for the most part. Obviously, the Rams not this year withstanding.
Do you think Broncos fans are safe to be excited again? Like, I'm speaking from my own personal experience here, where it's just like, I feel afraid to be excited about things because we were so excited last offseason that now you have to, like, take this guarded approach to everything.
Yeah, there's a cautious optimism, right? That you're like, oh, can we get there again? I think yes and no. And the reason I say no is because as we look to our right, there's Patrick Mahomes just over our shoulder.
I'm so glad he's not looking at me.
Well, right, he's looking. No, you know what though? But that doesn't mean he won't throw it this way. Right? Yeah. Because even though he's looking with his eyes to the left, we know that Patrick, similar to a really good point, or similar to Nikola Jokic, can see guys all over the field in this case.
Don't compare those.
So, no, I don't think it's a terrible comparison based on.
There are some similarities.
One
is a good person. One we can love. One we embrace.
The Mahomes John Elway comparisons are still the best comparisons because of the way they're built, the way they play, and he's just an evolved version of John.
Jokic's comp is Manning.
Danny Manning? Jayhawk legend Danny Manning? I get it. But
you can't say Peyton anymore because there's 17.
Yeah, I know. Imagine being somebody, and I'll get back to your question, but being at the ECL training center, hey, who are you doing that for? I got to do this for Peyton. You're like,
they're like, okay. Megan Peyton?
No, which Peyton? Yeah, Megan Peyton needs this done.
Wow.
I thought you meant Peyton. Oh, George. Oh, wait, sure. Yeah, they could open a law firm, right? Peyton, and Peyton.
I'd use it.
The reason you don't want to be overly enthusiastic is because that guy is still here. And we know that the Chargers are going to be competitive. The Raiders, we'll see. Aaron Rodgers is up there. That's a different conversation for a year or two. It's not long term. Mm-hmm. But the other side of it is, I understand, and we're looking at 13 months ago. We're 2 days away, 2 days and a month away from when Russ got traded on March 8th, my anniversary, as I am able to remember that date.
Day before my birthday.
Day before my birthday, and Kenny Smith's birthday is March 8th as well, from NBA on TNT. Anyway, as my anniversary was ruined, and then you think about how football season got ruined for so many Broncos fans. But regardless, the enthusiasm, which I think was justified, right? I don't think the enthusiasm was misplaced or inaccurate.
No.
You were going based on 10 years of Russell Wilson in Seattle, and the idea that Nathaniel Hackett, coming in as an offensive coach, having spent 3 years around Aaron Rodgers, been a coach, the coach's kid and around football his whole life, that this has a chance to be really, really good. And we know it wasn't, but what isn't talked about, and I've talked to 50 people since I've been here, and everyone's like, what's going on? What's up with Sean and Russ? There's not enough emphasis on the amount of players that were hurt and which players were hurt. Yeah. It doesn't mean they were going to win the Super Bowl.
No one ever cares about that.
I get that. I get that they don't. But like, if we go look at these rosters of the Eagles and the Chiefs, I guarantee you, if we look at their 22 starters from Week 1, if it's not 18 to 20 that are still out there on both sides, you go back to Super Bowl 50. The Broncos not only had all 11 starters from Week 1. Derek Wolfe was suspended, but he was a starter.
Yep.
They had all 11 defensive starters and 5 of the top 7 backups. So you had Omar Bolden and David Brutenrath, but everybody else, Shaq Barrett, Shane Ray, Todd Davis, all Shiloh KO had to play more because of that. But otherwise, because of Bruton's injury, you had 15 of Bradley Roby. So you had 15 of your top 17 guys with all your starters there. Health really matters.
Yes.
And so I don't think they would have won a bunch of games. I don't think they would have been in the Super Bowl, but they would have won 2 or 3 more games if they just had Garrett Bowles all year, and Javonte Williams all year, and Tim Patrick all year, and Justin Simmons for the 5 games he missed.
Yep.
He ties for the lead in interceptions in the league. He plays all 17 games. He probably sets that record by a wide margin. So it's not the reason they didn't win, but it is a factor. People don't want to make excuses, but it all factors in. So you get these guys back healthy. You hit on some draft picks. I was talking with a friend of ours that's from Denver that is in town, doesn't really cover the teams. And he's like, what moves is George Payton made? I go, well, do you like Damari Mathis? Baron Browning when healthy at 3rd round. Quinn Miners is your best offensive lineman. But Damari Mathis is a bona fide starter. You've got the 2 best young corners in the league. The Russ trade on its face right now doesn't feel great. Talk to me in 3 years.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to continue to hit on these. Again, that's a long answer to, I think you can be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
I don't think you get a Super Bowl 58 tattoo with a Broncos logo yet, Ryan. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
But if you do, I'll support it.
I don't like how
I'll support the tattoo and the enthusiasm, but I don't think it's the best idea.
Right. I just don't like the LVII. It's just too many I's.
Yeah, a lot of I's.
Maybe the next year?
No,
L-X. No, L-I-I-X.
No, it's LIX.
No, 9 will be LIX, yeah.
That'll be 9.
59 would be LIX.
That's right.
That's licks.
Yeah.
That is,
I don't like that one either.
Well, and then, we got lucky with Super Bowl 50. I say we, those who want to wear Super Bowl gear. They've now gone to these Roman numerals and gotten away from the cool old posters, which were great for 40-something years.
It's like they're dunking on themselves by putting all these awesome posters up.
They're
like, look how cool this used to look.
But so I have to think that Super Bowl 75 will probably be a number again, and then Super Bowl 100, I guess we'll see what that is. But
let's hope we get that
so I would not get that tattoo if I were you.
Okay.
But I think keeping January 16th open because the Broncos might have a playoff game that weekend.
Okay.
Like maybe don't plan a wedding, go to a tropical vacation.
Okay.
Because weren't you on vacation that first weekend?
I think
so maybe keep that clear because I do think a playoff appearance is definitely not out of the realm of possibility based on the marriage of Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, because if anybody can figure it out, it's Sean.
And like you said, the injuries. They had 23 guys who are going to be coming back off of IR. They had $40 million more back.
Sort of. I mean, some of those guys just won't be here. I get you.
Nah,
Ronald Darby will not be here because of Damari Mallet. But
there's that. But it's almost like a second
that's a crazy number,
class.
right? Absolutely. And I think priority number one, signing Draymond Jones. Then I think then I think you start to reorganize some of your money on guys you're keeping, if you can. Justin Simmons deal, stuff like that. You just move money around, and they should easily be able to sign 2 free agents. Certainly a premium O-line type free agent. If there's a guard out there or a right tackle out there or somebody that projects as a left tackle, likely not out there. And then another, similar to DJ Jones, K'Wan Williams, $10 million. Without even looking at the numbers, that should be easily done that you re-sign those guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, sign free agents like that.
What's the best body of water, rivers, lakes, or oceans?
Rivers, lakes, or ocean? Probably lakes.
Let's go.
Because of
3-1 lakes.
I love going to the beach. The ocean scares me a little because you can get caught in the undertow, sharks, octopi, jellyfish.
Swallowed by a whale.
Yeah, a whale could accidentally swallow you.
Saw that in the book once.
Yeah, so I think that lakes are the safest, the most. You can do the most without having to worry about what, like the boating and stuff you can do, jet ski. You try some of that stuff in the ocean, it could go sideways.
It could. I saw a video of a boat capsizing just today.
Wow. This is twice now that we've had guests come on and not even mention rivers.
Yep.
It's a two-horse race.
Henry's a rivers guy.
I'm a big river guy.
Rivers are relatively dangerous when the speed picks up.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the ones that have piranhas. That's its own thing.
That is. Or those organisms that
it's
can
cool to
swim up.
Not my river.
Look, it's cool to hang out and fish. I'm not a fisherman or a fly fisherman, but it seems cool.
Yeah.
It's relax. You're not like.
You can do that at a lake.
Right, but people you can do that. People like fishing will do it, but nobody's like, hey, let's go get out and go jet ski on a river.
Yeah.
Or get on the boat and water ski or wakeboard or wake surf, which has become a big thing.
And Annie Agar had a great point. She said, she's from where they have all those lakes up there. She's like, if you go down a river, then you have to find a way to get back to where you started.
Yeah, you have to have somebody at the end. There's a lot more planning. A boat, you can leave from the dock and come back to the same dock pretty easily.
You could actually go from Colorado to here on a river, though. That would have been
an interesting way to fair amount of water.
Getting tougher and tougher.
It seems faster to just take a plane.
Probably.
That's what I did.
All right, BK, we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me.
That segment was like as long as some of our whole podcasts were.
Yeah, well, because it was about just getting them out there, and now everything's about shorter content. Like
as we're finishing up,
they're like,
hour and 45 minute podcast.
I was told by my bosses, like, hey, get a bunch of 90-second, 2-minute interviews.
Yep.
Like, okay, great.
There you go.
I can do 100 of those.
Yep.
It's way easier than saying, hey, do you have 14 minutes to come talk to me about the Broncos defense?
Yep.
And Russell Wilson.
All right, BK, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you around.